If you visit an antique market in Thailand today, you might see these tiny rectangular tablets made of faded clay. They look incredibly unassuming, but a single, authentic Pra Somdej amulet can easily fetch millions of baht. Collectors and devoted Buddhists alike revere this specific artifact as the undisputed emperor of amulets. But to understand how a piece of pressed powder holds such legendary power, we have to look past the object itself and examine the radical, rule-breaking life of the monk who created it. His name was Somdej Pra Buddhacharya, though he is almost universally known as Somdej To. In the mid-19th century, he was elevated to the highest monastic ranks under King Rama IV. He was a celebrated scholar, a master of Vipassana meditation, and a wielder of powerful magic. Yet despite his glittering titles, he refused to behave like a cloistered elite. He was a notorious eccentric who routinely ignored rigid class structures and the expected decorum of a high-ranking official. He spent his career navigating the space between royal palaces and the grit of common life, challenging every standard convention of status. Even his name carried a hint of irony. Born an unusually small and frail child, his mother named him To, meaning big, simply to bring him good fortune. A royal teacher dreamed of a white elephant devouring temple scriptures, foretelling the young boy's immense intellectual brilliance. He rapidly mastered complex polytexts and esoteric studies, drawing the attention and favor of the royal court while still a young monk. Decades later, King Mongkut invited the now famous Somdej To to deliver a sermon inside the royal palace. When it was time to speak, he gave a comically brief blessing and promptly finished. When the king asked why the sermon was so short, To calmly replied that a king already possesses everything he needs, so there was no point in lecturing him. It was a witty, blunt exchange that highlighted how he viewed the highest elites with the exact same detached equality as he did commoners. Outside the palace walls, 19th century Bangkok was a city defined by the Chao Phraya River, built on boats, mud, and rising tides. Villagers watched in shock as the revered monk leaped into river mud to help a poor boat boy push a stuck vessel. His compassion extended to everyone, even criminals. Once, waking in the dark to a thief trying to steal a lantern from under his floorboards, To didn't shout for help. He just used his foot to push the lantern closer so the man could reach it. On another occasion, while sleeping on a boat, he noticed a bandit quietly pulling his sleeping mat away into the water. To calmly grabbed his pillow and tossed it to the thief, suggesting he take that as well. These bizarre, deeply humorous acts of extreme compassion demonstrated a rejection of ego, status, and worldly attachment. This same grounded philosophy applied to his spiritual practice. During 27 years of wandering the forests, he discovered ancient texts in the ruined temples of Kampeng Peth, detailing how to craft protective artifacts. When he finally began pressing his own amulets, he used a highly unusual mix of organic ingredients. He combined flower pollen, thick wild honey, and sacred chalk powders he had carefully collected and blessed over the years. Wealthy elites would have paid dearly for these objects, but Somdej To refused to sell them. Instead, he handed them out entirely for free to the commoners and laborers who crossed his path. Because they were distributed so widely among the working class, these amulets quickly became the center of countless stories. The widespread tales of Sunny miracles, invulnerability, and lottery predictions that surround them today all began with these free gifts to the masses. In his later years, To's amulets took on their final form thanks to a man named Luang Pu Kham, a royal goldsmith. Having personally experienced the monk's grace, the goldsmith volunteered his skills to carve the beautiful, perfectly proportioned molds that define the classic Pra Somdej shape we recognize today. It was a striking collaboration, a royal craftsman dedicating his artistry to perfect the work of a wandering ascetic, creating a physical bridge between the highest and lowest tiers of society. Somdej To frequently taught his young monks a simple philosophy. He told them to reject the nature of flies, which seek out rot, and instead embrace the nature of bees, which only seek out sweetness. This way of the bee encapsulated his entire existence. He spent his life searching for the inherent good in every human being, whether they were a king inside a grand palace or a thief stealing his lantern in the dead of night. Somdej To infused Thailand's highest spiritual power with a deep, egalitarian humanity, remaining forever a saint of the people.